This is a planning application to permit an outdoor recreation facility on a property located on Highway 358, South Scots Bay. My name is Alice and I am a planner with the County of Kings. The purpose of the presentation is to inform the public about the application and to explain the planning policies that enable this application to occur and to also receive preliminary feedback from public. The application is still in its early stages, so no opinions have been formed on this application and no decisions have been made yet. This application is for a development agreement or a DA. The municipality has three types of planning applications and a DA is one of the three. A DA is a legal contract between the municipality and the property owner. The agreement will have the use or the uses listed within the agreement and a set of site-specific conditions on the location and design of the development. The property could only be developed based on what is outlined within the DA. DAs helps us to have greater control over a development, especially those with unpredictable impacts. Through the DA, we could impose greater restrictions on the proposal. A DA usually runs with the land, which means if the property is transferred to a new owner in the future, the DA gets transferred to them automatically until it is discharged by the municipality. This is the standard process we are required to follow when we receive an application. The first step is to receive a complete application, which we have received. The second step is to hold a public information meeting. A public information meeting for this application was held on the 29th of April at the Canning Fire Hall. We typically notify property owners within 500 feet of a subject property about public information meetings, but for this application, considering it is high impact, we notified property owners within 1,000 feet, and it was also advertised on our website and social media sites. Public information meetings are informal meetings and are not recorded. Staff have made notes of the public concerns and comments, which will be included within our staff report. The third step of the process is a staff review, where staff will review this application against the applicable policies, and we will contact the relevant internal and external departments for their feedback on the application. A staff report with a recommendation is then prepared, which will be presented to the Planning Advisory Committee. If Planning Advisory Committee makes a positive recommendation, the application will go to Council for an initial consideration, and Council may forward it to a public hearing. Again, properties within 1,000 feet will be notified of the public hearing, and it will also be advertised on our website and social media sites. Public hearings are held in the council chambers and is an opportunity for members of the public to come in and share their concerns or comments directly with the council. Soon after the public hearing, the application will go back to council for final consideration and a decision will be made. The decision will be advertised on our website and social media sites, and the application will move on to a 14-day appeal period. The County of Kings map. The red circle on the map is the approximate location of the property within the county. As I mentioned, the property is located within South Scots Bay. The property is approximately 55 acres. The front portion of the property was a hayfield before, which was cleared, and the applicant put in paths for dirt bikes last year. The remaining area of the property is wooded. The neighboring uses include a combination of residential and farming uses. The applicant intends to develop an outdoor recreation facility on the property. So the red dash portion, which is approximately 16 acres, they are proposing tracks for dirt bikes, and the remaining 30 to 40 acres, which is the yellow dash portion, is currently wooded and they are proposing to retain the vegetation and create a multi-use trail for activities like cycling, hiking, skiing, ATVs, snowmobiles, snowshoeing, and other activities. They are also considering hosting 2-day events where people could bring in campers and camp on the property during the event. The municipality's land use bylaw permits a maximum of one event per year on a property. However, this part of the proposal is not yet confirmed. The property is located within a zone called the Rural Mixed Use or the A2 zone. The A2 zone permits a mix of agricultural, residential, and resource uses. But the A2 zone does not permit commercial recreational uses. Most of the commercial recreational uses within the municipality are permitted within a zone called the Commercial Recreation P1 zone. The P1 zone permits some high impact commercial uses like golf courses and campgrounds, which are expected to have predictable impacts, but it does not permit motocross tracks or dirt bike tracks. So, Section 2.7 of our municipal planning strategy, which is our main policy document, classifies uses like motocross tracks, race tracks, and theme parks as high impact uses, which have unpredictable impacts. And because of the unpredictable impacts and also the unpredictable demand for these uses, Council considers these uses only through a development agreement or a DA. This helps Council to impose higher restrictions on these developments. A DA is the only way this proposal could be considered, and there are no other policies within our planning document that enables this development through a rezoning, which is a different type of planning application. This is a view of the existing access to the subject property from Highway 358. And this is the subject property. So this area is the area proposed for the motocross track, which is this portion on the map. The wooded portion at the back is the area proposed for the multi-use trail, which is the remaining area of the property. Again, an aerial view of the area. The neighboring properties are mostly developed with residential uses and also includes farming uses. In order for council to consider a planning application, it has to be enabled by our policies. This is the policy that enables council to enter into development agreements. The development agreement is required to specify a few things. So A, it has to specify the use or the development that would be permitted on the property. B, the agreement should specify the conditions under which the development may occur. This could be conditions with regards to location, design, access, parking, setbacks, vegetative buffers, appearance, or anything that would help minimize impacts on a neighborhood. And C, it has to include details on how the agreement could be terminated or discharged in the future. And this is a policy that specifically enables council to consider high impact recreation uses through a development agreement. The proposal will have to meet a few policy criteria. So A, council has to be satisfied that the proposal does not include lands within the residential designation or the agricultural A1 zone. The subject property is within the A2 zone. B is whether the proposal meets the minimum lot area and lot frontage requirements for the commercial recreation P1 zone. C applies to lands located on a lake within the shoreline designation. The property is not located on a lake and it is not within the shoreline designation. And D, whether the proposal meets the general policy. This is the general policy. So council has to be satisfied that the proposal meets the intent of the municipal planning strategy, that it does not conflict with any municipal or provincial programs, bylaws, or regulations, that the proposal wouldn't have any financial impact on the municipality, and that it is not inappropriate due to land use compatibility issues. So most of the aspects here are reviewed by municipal staff. However, there are some that are not within our jurisdiction, and we would reach out to relevant departments for their input and feedback. With regards to traffic, access, and egress, we would reach out to the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works, which is a provincial department, for their feedback and input. The Canning Fire Department will be contacted for their input on fire protection services. The area does not have municipal sewer or water and will have to be serviced by on-site sewer and water, which are regulated by the province. The potential for flooding and drainage, pollution, and negative impacts on farming operations will be reviewed by the municipality, and the site suitability will again be reviewed by us. That concludes the presentation, and this is my contact information. If there are questions or comments with regard to this application, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.